All right, it's preparing to go live. It's thinking we're live. It says done. All right, then I'm going to mute.
Preparing to go live.
Look at that. All right. And I'm going to grab the link from YouTube and I'm going to post it in our, not only in our notes, but also I'm going to take this whole thing and share this now onto Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and everybody and let them know that we are indeed live. I'm going to paste this in the chat here so you all have it as well. And Ben, we are officially a go.
All right. Well, hello and good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Virtual Coffee with Ben. My name is Ben Blackman. I'm the Director of Development for Ridge. It's Royal Innovation Design Group, a group of innovation consultants based out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Before we get started this morning, I want to encourage you again to go to our YouTube channel. It's the Ridge YouTube channel. Hit subscribe. You can also go to our Facebook page, like and share the content, and go to our website. It's ridge.com, ridg.com. We have a brand new free ebook. It's the 7 Truths in the Age of Uncertainty. We talked about it last week on this show with Jeff Nelson, who edited and illustrated that document. It's fantastic. Can't talk about it enough. It's great. It's a great guide to help get you through all this uncertainty. You can get it again at ridge.com. And for those that are just joining us for the first time, this is Virtual Coffee with Ben. It's a web series that focuses on how companies innovate, strategically plan for the future, and create a strong culture for their employees. Joining me today, very special guest, Leslie Smith. Leslie is the president and CEO of Epicenter Memphis. And this is a nonprofit organization. It's designed to support entrepreneurship in the greater Memphis area. Of course, we're joined by Jorn Oppelt as well. Jorn, as you all know, for viewers of the show, he's the director of creativity and innovation for Ridge. He's helping to run the show. Good morning to you both. I hope you're doing well.
Good morning. I am. I hope you
Fantastic.
are as well.
Yes. Now, we at Ridge have actually had the great fortune to work with Leslie in Epicenter Memphis in the past. And so we're excited to have her here to talk about the organization. So Leslie, for those who are unaware, can you tell us a little bit about Epicenter Memphis, how you became involved in the organization, and what challenges brought you to partner with Ridge?
I will. I'll try to do that with a level of brevity, understanding we have 30 minutes to be together, and there's probably more than 30 minutes to tell. The Epicenter was really designed as a strategy for local vibrancy by the regional chamber back in 2014, when they launched a series of audacious moon missions to really catalyze Memphis toward full potential. And among those moon missions were the notion that a culture of entrepreneurship, as sort of activated through service to 1,000 entrepreneurs and the launch of 500 businesses, would really be additive to the local community. And it was out of that concept that the Epicenter was born. I was recruited here from Detroit, where I was doing similar work in the post-recession era, working to activate a entrepreneurial movement in Detroit in response to that economic shift in our community, and really to restore entrepreneurship, not only as an economic development strategy, but as an attitude. And so I've been in Memphis since 2015, doing the very same stuff here as the founding CEO of this effort. And we are well on our way. So the 500 and 1,000 numbers were 10-year goals, and we are well on our way to accomplishing both of those goals in this, our 5th year. So we're excited about that.
That's great. So tell us how you came in contact with Ridge and our founder and our Chief Innovation Officer, Michelle Royal. I know that you've worked with us to kind of get outside perspective on the work that you're doing. How important is it to get outside eyes just to kind of validate or give feedback on the type of things that you're working on?
Yeah, I think you and I talked a bit about this when we first met, and
Mhm.
the reality is all of this work is driven by humans, and humans are emotional beings. And I think outside perspective, who can unemotionally and objectively help you see what's happening on the ground and identify ways to move toward your shared goals is really, really helpful. Um, Michelle and y'all at Ridge are particularly good at that, because I think your culture is one that honors that emotion and human nature of this work, rather than dismiss it as sort of irrelevant or unimportant to the things we're actually trying to do, and recognize that we're just whole people trying to do really hard things. And I think that shows up in the facilitation, and it's really a gift to those that get to participate. I came to know Michelle through our shared work at the NBIA, which I am the board chair of that organization. It's a membership organization that supports innovation practitioners across the globe, really, with a significant footprint in North America. We started with a fundamental focus toward incubation, and over the years have evolved to support entrepreneurship centers and accelerators and co-working spaces and others that really sit in that innovation economy space. Michelle and the team really helped us through some interesting scaling challenges, pivot challenges as the world was changing around us. And as a result of that work, I invited her to come and help me with very similar sort of change work in Memphis. And we've worked together on a variety of projects. And I look forward to working on many more projects with Michelle and the Ridge team, because we are better for it.
Well, we appreciate that, and we certainly enjoyed working with you as well. And if you're just joining us, I'm Ben Blackman, Director of Development with Ridge, and this is Virtual Coffee with Ben. I'm joined by Leslie Smith today. Leslie is the President and CEO of Epicenter Memphis. If you like what you're hearing, hit the like and subscribe button on our YouTube channel, or hop over to Facebook. You can like our page and share the content there. Stay tuned for more conversations like this. We're talking with Leslie a little bit about her work with Epicenter Memphis and getting it up off the ground. I'm guessing, Leslie, that one of the things that you weren't prepared for, wasn't on your radar at all, was a pandemic. So I'm curious, we've been talking with everybody about the pandemic. I'm curious what you've been focused on throughout this public health and economic crisis. Do you have any advice for other nonprofits that are out there just trying to survive?
Yeah, it's interesting. The work we stood up in Detroit was in response to a crisis, economic crisis. And the work here was stood up in pursuit of full potential, and I think in many ways prepared us for a crisis in ways that we hadn't really expected. And so, one of the interesting questions that I asked Memphis, and I ask other cities often when we talk about this type of organizing work around entrepreneurship, is, are you willing to be bold in the absence of a clear and obvious crisis? In Detroit, we were fueled by the crisis. And so behavior change wasn't an option, it was a requirement. In Memphis, when we started 5 years ago, many things were humming along very well. Many things were not humming along very well, but that had been so for so long that we become numb to some of the socioeconomic conditions that we should be addressing. And I think, we've had to really work to push risk-taking and support of entrepreneurial efforts in our work on a regular basis. The great news about that is, as a result of those behavior changes and the partnerships we've built and the programs we've developed and the resources we have in place, that collectively as a community, when this pandemic hit, we were on the phone talking to our entrepreneurs, then talking to each other and initiating solutions, within days. And so I think what's really great about working in a collective impact sort of structure is that you're prepared for whatever comes your way, not only the opportunities for growth and greatness, but also, a response to, as we've, talked about, this unprecedented sort of global moment that we're living through. And I think it really prepares us to not only survive this moment, but come out the other side prepared to restore and grow in whatever's possible after the pandemic. As far as advice, I've spent a lot of time giving our team this advice, which is more about patience and grace than it is about a real business strategy. I think we have to collectively remember that we are going through something that is a host to a lot of loss, the loss of our normal behaviors, a loss of the things that we love and hold dear, a loss for many of us of sort of economics and stability around economics, the loss of a business legacy, or at least the challenge to all of those things. And that's exhausting. And it's really difficult to be super creative when you're constantly exhausted. And so we've adopted this sort of 3 things. What are the 3 most important things you're going to do to take care of yourself and your work today, this week, this month? And I think it's helped to sort of chunk things off in a bite-sized way, because when you look at the sort of macro level impacts of this moment, you can become immediately overwhelmed by the largesse of it all. And I think if we just think about how we can move through this in our own unique ways, and in 3 really important ways, it will help us preserve our energy. And then I think, we also have to just acknowledge the way we feel, recognize that it's appropriate to feel this host of feelings and not be our most creative and productive selves. It's interesting to me, I have a 9th grader, well now 10th grader, who, is really struggling with the social disconnect, the loss of regularity with her daily schedule, the loss of all of the things that are really important to her, like theater and the sort of normalness of the school environment. And yet, as a society, we want to sort of drive and push for this sort of constant productivity. And I just think we have to balance that with a little bit of rest and allowing some time for the acknowledgement of the pain and also the restoration of ourselves.
Yeah, great advice. I wanted to ask as well, on a more macro level, you have insight with Epicenter Memphis into the business community, the academic community, and government as well. Are there any big structural problems that you think have been exposed due to the pandemic and kind of the response to it? And are there ways that you would suggest that they be resolved? What has opened your eyes the most in terms of what Memphis has done or not done as a response to this crisis?
Yeah, I think a part of the way the support to small businesses have rolled out nationally really highlights a challenge around the movement of resources to Black-owned businesses, which certainly existed prior to the pandemic, and I think have been highlighted in this moment for policymakers and practitioners across the country. As a native Detroiter and an adopted Memphian, that was not a surprise to me, and it was not a surprise to our organization, who sort of daily commits to ensuring that participation among all members of our community is a priority. And we really hold ourselves accountable to a portfolio that is representative of our city, which is majority Black, and the portfolio of companies we serve is majority Black as a result of that, because we understand that just and inclusive economies grow. And we've worked really hard to
Looks like we might have lost
before, and we will
You're
continue
back?
to do after.
Okay,
but I'm
gotcha.
hopeful that for those to whom this is, oh, did you find me?
You froze out for a second, but you're back.
Okay, yay! Sorry.
Good. No, it's all right.
I think welcome to the pandemic, where technology is an imperfect connector. Yeah. It's why we need to be in space together, right?
That's right.
I think for folks who find that to be news, I am hopeful that they become engaged in our collective efforts to ensure that resources are distributed equitably so that we build a just an inclusive society on the other side of this, and not one that continues to actively prevent participation by all members of our community. And so I do think that has become highlighted. It's been written about a lot, and we're hopeful that now the army of people committed to changing that has grown.
So you talked a little bit about having a 10-year plan when you started Epicenter Memphis. I'm curious, you're 5 years in now. What do you envision the city looking like 5-10 years from now? And for people that are interested in learning more about Memphis or about the work that you're doing specifically, where can they go to learn more about it?
We, like Ridge, have all of those amazing social media channels. Although I don't think we have a YouTube channel, but you have me thinking about that now. We do have a podcast. It's called Grind Set, and you can find it wherever you find your podcasts. It is marvelous, and it really lifts up the stories of individual entrepreneurial heroes in Memphis, and proves to all of us that we can do anything with the right supports and energy. We also have a website, epicentermemphis.org, and you can find a lot of information about us, but also some COVID-19 resources, including a reopening framework and some other things we've been working on with our partners across the community. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can find us all there. The 10-year plan, I think I'm grateful that we're 5 years in, because I do think we have a more stable base and a community of committed partners with which we can work to move forward. I think whatever I had planned for the first 10 years has been forever changed, possibly by the pandemic. But what I do hope is that as a result of the first 5 years work, the next 5 years are less painful than they would have been, and that we can outpace other cities in our return to whatever a normal economy looks like, because we are prepared. And not that I wish a slow return for them, but I am grateful that we have some of the tools that will support a quick return. I think you and I talked a bit about how we had always hoped this would be a 10-year supernova, and that the ecosystem would be sustainably sort of running through the Memphis region, and there would no longer be a need for our ongoing efforts. I no longer believe that is true. I think we will have to continue to stay in the game as an organizing partner and resource coordinator for the community. And I'm, again, grateful that we exist to even be able to do that.
Well, I can say, as someone who's visited Memphis quite a few times, it's a great city. Certainly hope that Beale Street gets rocking again. Hope the Grizz get back on the court. And I got to say, as a Kansas City native, we still hold the title of the best barbecue, but the Memphis barbecue is a close second. And so I hope they're serving up those dry ribs again real soon. That's all the time we have for today, but I want to thank you so much, Leslie, for joining us. Great insights on the great work that you're doing with Epicenter Memphis. And again, for those that want more information, go to epicentermemphis.org. And for Jorn and myself, again, thanks for joining us. You can visit the Ridge YouTube channel to see more of these videos and other great content we're throwing out there. Go to our website, ridge.com, that's RIDG.com, to download our new free ebook, The 7 Truths in the Age of Uncertainty, and learn about all the other great innovative work that we're doing. And we hope to see you next time. We'll be doing another one of these next Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern, as always. So take care out there, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.